folks, if you've ever thought of building an off-market property list to bump up your business, check out this video. We're going to go step by step on how you can quickly create an off-market property list to advertise to your buyers. Let's jump into it. All right, folks, so welcome. Today we're going to talk about building an off-market property list. Let's start with number one. What is an off-market property list? It is a list of addresses for homes and names of homeowners and contact information for those homeowners for people that are not currently listed on the MLS, but have given you verbal confirmation that under the right set of circumstances, they would sell their home. But for whatever reason, they're not ready at that moment to list it right away. You might be asking yourselves, well, if they don't want to list right now, why keep a list of them around? What's the use? Why is it useful? Why is it valuable? Well, there's a few reasons, guys. In a lot of the country, even though we're undergoing a shifting real estate market, in most parts of the country, we still have pretty tight inventory. So when you have a list of available properties, it might be something that's very attractive to potential buyers. Buyers want to see properties. In some of these markets, we barely have one active listing for every pending listing. We don't have a lot of inventory. An off-market property list, if you use it effectively, can help attract and retain buyers into your business. Another reason you want to keep an off-market property list handy is it can create great relationships with investors, wholesalers, flippers, buy and hold types of investors. They're always wanting to look at off-market properties because under the right conditions, they can make an offer on that home and they prefer it to be off-market. All right, so let's say I've convinced you that an off-market property list is worth doing. Let's jump in. The first way you can create a great off-market property list is using old expireds listings. It's actually a pretty simple call to make. You pick up the phone, you call a list of expireds that are typically at least a year old, and you call them up and you use a very simple script. You can start by disarming the expired seller, the expired owner. You can tell them, hey, I'm calling to see if your property is still available. I don't want to list it. You can start there, right? That immediately takes a lot of the tension away from that call. Tell them, I don't want to list the home. I just want to know if you'd still be interested in selling it if the right buyer came along. I want to add your home to my off-market property list, okay? Really important. This can be the first step in building a great relationship with an expired listing. You can even use this for newer expireds. If a new expired you're calling, you're trying to get them to see if they're going to list, gauge their motivation. If they're just not ready to go right away, as a plan B, you can ask them for their permission. Hey, can I put your home on my off-market property list? I want to show it to qualified buyers to see if they could be interested. If I brought you the right buyer, would you at least consider selling that home? If they say yes, add that home and that owner to your off-market property list today. Expired listings can go expired for many different reasons, and a lot of times they're just not ready to go back on the market right away. That's fine. Even if you continue to nurture them, whether it's an old expired or a newer expired, always try to add them to your off-market property list. You want to build it and you want to make it an effective marketing tool, both for buyers and for sellers. Another great resource to add properties quickly to your off-market property list is calling for sell by owners. Now, I know what you're going to say. A lot of these times, these FSBO sellers, FSBO for sell by owners, what they want is to not have any agents call them. But guess what? You're also going to disarm them as well. You're going to tell them, hey, I'm calling. I want to learn about the property. I don't want to list your home. I'm actually helping my buyers by finding them off-market properties like yours. They're not on the MLS. I want to learn more about this property so I can bring you a buyer potentially. That's going to stop them dead in their tracks because that's usually what they want. They want you to bring them a buyer. They don't want to list the home for whatever reason, right? That's the typical FSBO stance. But when you go in telling them that's exactly what you want to do, it makes the whole call go way smoother. You want to qualify the property, ask them different information, Ask them if the pictures are up to date, ask them any additional features, and also tell them that the whole purpose of this is to show it only to qualified buyers. You're gonna start building a relationship with them as well. Converting a FSBO is about follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. As part of your follow-up process, having them already in your off-market property list gives you another reason to check in with them and see, is their property still on the market? This can serve the purpose of helping out your buyers as well as getting you potential sellers by building rapport and building that relationship with different FSBOs. Another way to generate more sellers into your off-market property list is when you're doing circle prospecting. Circle prospecting is a great way to call all around different neighborhoods, desirable neighborhoods, neighborhoods that have a lack of inventory, and trying to find nurturers. Circle prospecting is not always about setting appointments and talking to people right away about listing. That's not the way it works. Circle prospecting is excellent at generating a pipeline of future sellers. And some of these sellers, you can always ask the question, if they have a desire to sell and they're not ready to list right away, you can always ask them, hey, if the right qualified buyer came along and loved your property, would you be willing to entertain an offer from them? I'm just curious because I'd love to add your home to my off-market property list. And then see what they say. Worst thing they can say is no. But I bet you they haven't been asked that question ever before. So you're really going to set yourself apart as someone that's a mover, a shaker, a hustler, always trying to get deals done. They're going to remember that, and they're going to have that idea in their mind about you that you can make things happen. Great. So now you've got expireds, for sale by owners, circle prospecting, all these different ways to get off-market properties into that list. Well, now what do you do with it? You can use it for several different things. Number one, I would run a Facebook ad advertising that you have off-market properties available. Make sure that your local MLS, realtor board, state legislator, state sanctioned regulator allows for this. Be compliant. But if you can, I would 100% advertise that you have that off-market property list and use it to attract potential buyers into your business. Another thing I would do with that list is anytime you're talking to a potential buyer lead, inbound call, cold call, networking event, drop the fact that you have an off-market property list available. It is a great hook. It's a great way to get any kind of potential buyer lead to be interested in what you have to offer and to want to meet with you and go over that off-market property list in more detail. A great script to use in this interaction is to tell them, I'd love to show this to you, but I committed to all the sellers on this list that I would only show them to qualified buyers. I just need to ask you a few more questions to make sure you can qualify, or even pass them on to your lender. Hey, could they do a quick pre-qualification just to make sure? Because I committed to these sellers that I would do these simple steps to make sure that they only get seen by qualified buyers. Is that okay? Do you think that's fair? And then go on with the rest of the script. It can be really powerful. Off-market property list has that kind of potential and more. All right, folks, I hope this has been useful for you guys. An off-market property list, if it is marketed properly, can actually create a huge amount of value for your business. If you found this video valuable, please crush that subscribe button. We release a new video with tips and tricks every single day.